So you want an open source sorcerer that works in PvP, with subclassing, with scribing. This is it, guys. This is the Evoker. It has over 50,000 magicka on an open source build, which is obscene. It has really high sustain, like 2,500, over 4,000 spell damage. It hits like a truck. It works in duels. It works in Battlegrounds. It works in Cyrodiil. It is hands down one of my most favourite open source builds to play. And if you've been a member of the channel before, you know I really like these builds, and this is way better than the previous one on the channel, so there's lots to break down and explain how it all works. As with my videos, I'm going to go through the sets, the skills, all that good stuff so you know how to make it. But I do want to stress that this is an open source build, meaning we have one bar only, and you need access to High Isle and Greymore to make this thing work. That said, it is a lot of fun, and if you're new to PvP or have a friend just getting started, recommend this video because it will really help them out. I also want to say that if you like what I do with my videos, likes and comments are greatly appreciated, and if you haven't done so, do subscribe. I want to say a massive thank you to all of the YouTube and Patreon members who do support the content. They get early access to videos, exclusive builds and guides, as well as much more. If you are interested in all that good stuff and becoming a member today, there's details down below. But having beaten this person in this duel, we're going to hop into the build and show you what's happening. For the build and the race wise, you want to be a Breton. Breton is ideal for this because you get recovery, you also get more cost reduction, and you get more max magicka. If you're not a Breton, High Elf is a really good option, or Dark Elf. Any race for max magicka is the go-to in my opinion, but you can like mix and match them. I would also stress that if you are, say, a race that isn't a Breton, you can change a glyph or two which are built into the build to give you that flexibility to change stuff around very easily. For the attributes, as I was saying, we have 50,000 magicka. You are stacking magicka, basically. We are trying to get this as high as we can, and we're not using inner light, so we have an obscene amounts of magicka already. And that recovery is very nice. With the potion, it's a whopping 2,500 at all times. That potion buff is always on, so we have loads of sustain. And the spell damage does climb higher still, as do those resistances. Just showing the resistances quickly, because the people do always ask. We have a good 28,000 spell resist and 23, almost 24,000 physical with some good crit resist. And you might be going that health's a little low. When you have a massive shield like we do, you know, this is going to keep you alive, as you saw in the gameplay. I would also stress that we are utilizing tri-food sometimes, and also max magicka and max health food. So the ideal is Artean pickled fish bowl. This is perfect for like Battlegrounds, Cyrodiil. But sometimes you need a bit more stam, so Sugar Skulls is a great alternative. Yes, you lose a bit of magicka, yes, you lose a bit of health, you gain loads of stamina though. So that is an option if you want to roll loads on this build, so I would consider this too. If you are very new to PvP and you do want to have more sustain, Witch Moths is also worth considering. If we look at our stat page at the moment, we have 2,000 recovery with our potion 2,500, and if we did change to Witch Mothers, we do lose 2,000 magicka, we do lose about 4,000 health, but we gain another 500 recovery. So what you can do is drop a bit of magicka here, get some more health and have loads of a sustain. I don't think it's needed. I personally would recommend using the takeaway broth because you do want that extra amount of health. That does help keep you alive. And as we said, we are using the Mage Munders to push that magicka even higher. The higher our magicka, the bigger our shields, the more damage we do. It's also worth stressing if you're new to the game that every 10.5 magicka is 1 spell damage. So with such a high magicka pool, we actually have really high damage. And for the potions, you can probably guess it already. It's not a unified build if we don't have tri potions. It's got health, it's got magicka, it's got stamina. If you're low on any of these, push one, you're good to go. I'm now going to go through the skills and how they all work, and as I explained, this does utilise subclassing and scribing to maximise our damage, so you do need both systems in all honesty, but I will give alternatives. For the skill lines, we need Daedric Summoning, Storm Calling and Assassination. This is designed to play as a true sorcerer, giving us the best sorcerer feel whilst being highly effective. For that reason, we need to have access to the shield because that's what every sorcerer does. The passives also gives us more cost reduction on our ultimate, more damage reduction and also more max magicka. All of this combines means we have really high resource pools to work with, and we're also very tanky. The shield is fantastic because it does loads and loads of healing. And when I say healing, it is essentially pseudo heal. It doesn't heal your health, but it's basically as good as. So treat this as your burst heal. This will get you out of trouble if you're low health. And then we run an extra heal over time, which I'll get to in a moment. We then use Storm Calling for the overload, hits like a truck, and the streak. It makes us move around. We can stun people offensively or defensively to get in or out of combat as we need. The passives are also very, very good. We then have Assassination, which is a subclassing system, and this is the Nightblade using Merciless Resolve. This has an insane amount of damage. As you'll see, it hits very hard, and it also gives us 50% healing when we do damage. So you will get lots of healing out of this as we use this. The passives are also loads of crit chance, which is good, and some also sustain and more crit damage. So this just means loads and loads of burst. And the good thing with this skill is we can charge it and then keep it charged and use it when we need it. With crystal fragments, you can't keep it charged. It kind of charges up and you have to wait and wait and wait before you can use it. So I would recommend personally putting on Assassination. It is too good not to use currently. For the bar itself, we have a Scribe skill, Shock and Soul. This has a 11,000 tooltip here with another 2,700 here, and some major breach. This is shock damage, class mastery, and breach. The class mastery is very good, but you might not have this, so do consider Lingering Torment as an alternative until you get this. If you don't have access to scribing, it is coming in July for every person, so just wait until then. Alternatively, you could go down to Destruction Staff and Crush and Shock. That's still worth considering. This is just a better spammable in my opinion. We then have a second scribe skill, which is Healing Contingency. This is our burst heal. The shield no longer heals us, it's a big shield and that's it, so we need a healing skill and this is it. This is healing, it's Gladiator's Tenacity for 8% damage reduction and Minor Resolve for more armor again. So this is lots of defense and a heal. This is our only heal in the build, so what that means is when you're fighting, you often push the contingency, then the shield, and it will push the heal and the shield and they come on together. If you're really low on health and you need to bounce back really fast, you can do the following. You do contingency, roll dodge, and you get 2 heals back to back within a second and a half. It's very, very good. We then also have streak. And as I explained, this is our movement, stun, damage is great. And the ultimate is overload. Passive wise, they're what you'd expect. All the destruction passives, all the light, medium, heavy. And I would recommend that you do get your Undaunted. This is very important for the build. The more resources is incredibly useful. And a little tip is get the alchemy and get the medicinal use. If you can level up your assaults, do get combat frenzy and reach for Cyrodiil. They really help. The combat frenzy gives you more ults when you kill people, so it basically makes overload free. And reach means you can hit people further. Now looking at the champion points, for the blue ones we are using Arcane Supremacy. This is more max magicka, it's just bigger shields, more damage. Deadly Aim and Master at Arms are just more damage with all of our skills because they're direct and single target. And Weapons Expert means our light attacks and our overloads hit very, very hard, so it's good sustained damage overall. For the red ones we have Celerity, as we don't have any movement speed apart from Streak. We have Bastion for more just shield and damage against shielded targets, Pain's Refuge for more mitigation, and Fortify for extra armor. If you want to change the Fortified, you could go with something like Slippery, that's a good option, or you could go over and get Slight Sustained by Suffering, which is also worth considering. And for the green ones, we are using Sustaining Shadows, Seed's Blessing, Gifted Rider, and War Mount, your typical skills. The final thing to go through now are the sets, and the sets are very complicated in all honesty. We've got like 4 different sets on an Oakensaw build, so do pay attention, and there is a superstar. That said, if you like what I do with my videos, then do like and do subscribe. So many of you watch the videos and you're still not subscribed, and it will really help if you can. For the build itself, we are utilising a brand new set, the 3 Queens Lightning set. This is fantastic. So the 3 Queens Wellspring set gives you magicka, and loads of magicka recovery. Now you might be thinking, Wretched Vitality, Dan, like come on, where's the Wretched at? Now I did look at Wretched Vitality and I did use it. It's loads of magicka recovery, it's a bit of damage. This is essentially 390 here, plus an extra bit, so that's 500 combined, similar amount of sustain. The big difference is though, this is 3 pieces of magicka. that becomes more damage. So what you end up having is more shields, more damage, and we don't actually need stam recovery. We've got 16,000 stamina and we don't have any skills that use stam. So this is plenty of stam sustain, as you'll see in the gameplay. So I wouldn't rush to like use Wretched. This is better in my opinion. And you're probably going, well, Dan, Crafty Alfiq, where's that? Like, what are you doing here? No. Crafty Alfiq is fantastic. It's lots of magicka, but we are trading 2,500 magicka, which is not a lot of magicka, for 500 recovery. And it's not just 500 recovery. If we look at our stat page, we're on 2,000 recovery here already. We take this off, we're down to 1,400. That's 600 and something recovery already lost. So this recovery is very, very noticeable. It is a lot of recovery that we lose just because it gets boosted by minor buffs and major buffs. And the best way to show this is that we have 2,000 recovery here. With the potion, it's 2,500. You take off this, you should go down to roughly 2,100, but we're now on 1,700. You put this back on, it's now 2,500. So this is essentially being boosted by major intelligence, and minor intelligence, which means this is like 800-900 really, so it's really, really good. I would recommend being a sharpen for this and an absorb magicka. The extra sustain is really useful and I would definitely use this going forward. The back bar set, just use whatever you like, it doesn't actually be needed, I just have this from a previous build. We then have one piece Swarm Mother and one piece Domihorse. These are very good monster pieces as they give you magicka and stamina, which is why our stamina pool is so high considering we don't have to try food. You want to have one medium, one heavy, one light, and mix them as you see fit. I normally go for a couple heavy, a couple medium, and 3 light. So it's 3 heavy, 3 light, 1 medium is what I do on this build. I've gone with impen across the board apart from reinforced on the chest. I've then put magic on every single armor piece, and we have the 3 queens on the sash, the hands and the feet. I've got trainee on the legs and the chest. You might be going, why trainee? The trainee gives you bonus magicka power than it would otherwise. It's about an extra 30-40% magicka than a 2-piece normally, and it's more health, which is what we need. So this is fantastic. We then do a very similar trick with willpower. Willpower is a very special 2-piece set that's almost double the power of a normal 2-piece. So this is basically like having 2.5 pieces on. So if you imagine like a 3-piece set bonus, this is almost as good as a 3-piece set bonus with like 2 lines of magicka. It's very, very good. You can see this here. This is basically 2,000 recovery magicka here. This is almost 1,700. So when we combine the 2 willpower with the 2 trainee, we get loads of magicka, but also some health, which makes this way better than it would otherwise be. Now you could drop maybe Domihorse if you want and go with Crafty Alfiq. That is an option if you wish, but I find this is the best blender stats, giving you magicka, stamina and health, but you can mix and match as you see fit. The willpower has to be on the jewelry though, in all honesty, because it helps you maximize the damage and also the resistances, and it only comes in weapons or jewelry. I've gone with Arcane across the board with 2 recovery on the neck and the ring and 1 spell damage on the Oaken Soul. If you're not a Breton, you can change this to recovery if you're a high elf, for example, or a dark elf. As for all of how it's like laid out, there is a superstar on screen here which will really help you. So pause it, rewind it, you can see it there. But this shows you the weights, the traits, the glyphs, everything you need to know. The final thing I want to do in the video is to kind of put up the gameplay once more so you can see what's happening, and we'll just skip a bit forward into some Battlegrounds and kind of show what's happening here. If you want to see this full gameplay guide where I break it all down, the movement, the skills to position, there's a dedicated video in the members tab. So if you are a member, you can see this right now, and if you want to become a member, you can get access to this here. But essentially, I go through and narrate what I'm doing, this movement, the skills, the combos, so you can see how to play it. What you will see from this little brief snippet though is that we are focusing on keeping our shield up at all times, and we use overload into spec bow or overload into shock and soul. I find the healer at the back, so I try to melt him really quick. This person jumps into us, so I hit him with an overload into a spec bow and he absolutely melts. I do the same for this person here, then runs away, but because he's Earth Gore proc, there's no restrict through and get the kill. I then have this person who tries to get me, but he runs away, so I help my teammate behind, and then I push up forward once more. He comes back around for round 2, I go for some killing power, and I end up getting some nice bursts on him and go for the kill. But I'm going to call it here. I'm going to say a massive thanks for the support and watching. If you get any questions with what to do, let me know down below. Take care. Bye.